Well, hello and welcome to another Pokemon challenge. Today I want to attempt a hardcore Nuzlocke of FireRed using only a Mewtwo. Some of you have probably sat there going, look, you beat it with a Magneton and a Gengar. There's absolutely no way you can't beat it with a Mewtwo, but there is a spin on today's challenge. I want to try a minimum battles challenge mixed with the hardcore Nuzlocke rules. So no overleveling, no items in battle. If we faint, we're dead, but there are only 69 mandatory battles that we have to fight here in FireRed, and we are going to do only those battles. I am going to have to do one other battle outside of the minimum mandatory, and that is to catch a Spearow. I'm going to trade that for the Farfetch'd in Vermilion. This way we have a Pokemon that can learn Fly and Cut. We will get a gifted Lapras for Surf and Strength. And as far as Flash goes, I really don't need it to get through Rock Tunnel. I can do it without Flash. Flash is just nice to have. I'm not actually going to count that battle because we aren't going to gain any experience. There are a couple of other things that we have to do in this game, and if we're not going to gain experience from it, then it doesn't count as a mandatory battle. Old school gens, we don't get experience points from catching Pokemon. I know some of you are probably tired of seeing FireRed runs, but I had a few of these planned, and all of these videos have kind of led up to these different challenges. We will break away from FireRed and get back to the monotype locks very, very soon. Looking at Mewtwo's stats, it has some great stats here with a base total of 680. There's 106 in HP, 110 in attack, 90 in defense and special defense, 154 in special attack, and 130 in speed. That's great base stats. It is a special attacker, and it does get access to moves like Ice Beam and Thunderbolt, which make this really nice. These stats hopefully will get us through the entirety of the game, where we are going to be under-leveled for the majority of it, and with no EV training, some of these battles can be difficult. As a matter of fact, if we look at our effort values right here, these are stolen right from our save file at the end of the game. They're not very great. I would not have put 42 EVs into attack or really any into defense or special defense. We would have focused on special attack and probably speed. So again, we haven't even put 512 effort values in. We're sitting at 250. It's going to be a bit of a struggle, but I hope you guys have enjoyed. I did take some notes in the last couple of runs. I have 3 sheets here. I should be showing these on screen now, where I took and did all of the mandatory battles, and I did the research to the experience that we gain, all the different trainers and where they are, took notes so that we know different paths to take, and this is how I can tell exactly what the experience is going to be as we progress through this game. Once again, we have named our rival algorithm. We are going to name our rival algorithm henceforth because the algorithm is the thing we are trying to beat both in-game and in real life. If you guys want to help me beat the algorithm in real life, you can by watching the video, commenting, subscribing to the channel, ringing the bell, sharing it with your friends. All those things, interactions with the channel, help beat the algorithm. There are hundreds of channels out there with people doing crazy things that is so stupid, just with their buddies and stuff, and they've got hundreds of thousands of views. We're over here doing some real work on some of these runs. This one was not an easy run to complete, and the next run I have planned is going to be difficult as well. Some of the previous ones we have done, so I'm asking ever so nicely, subscribe to the channel. The last episode didn't do great. It did get a couple hundred views, and looking at the analytics of that video, it's about a 50-50 if people were subscribed or not. So 100 of you watched the video and you're not subscribed to the channel, please check. Just click that button. It takes no time at all, and it helps me out so much. Thank you guys for the continued support. Catching a Spearow is pretty fast and easy over on Route 22. Like I said, we're trading this thing for a Farfetch'd that can learn Cut and Fly. It's going to be 1/2 of the HM users that we need. We need Cut for a little while, but after we get through Fuchsia City, we don't really need it much. but we need Fly, we need Surf, and we need Strength. So, thanks Spearow for your valiant sacrifice. Our Mewtwo is looking pretty good here with a serious neutral nature. I'll take a neutral nature, that's fine. Our stats look really good, and our IVs are really good. Had to make sure that the IVs were really good because we're not going to do any EV training. As a matter of fact, we're not going to be getting any held items outside of berries because that's an additional battle and we might beat the Pokemon gaining experience. The rival battle that we did in Oak's Lab moments ago was the very first battle that we had to do, and what we have left is this Weedle trainer before Brock. That is 2 battles that is going to put us at level 6 to take on Brock. Oh man, this may be a mistake. Going into the battle with Brock, we are half of Geodude's level. We will level up to level 7, and that puts us at half of Onix's level. Confusion here looks like it's going to be about a 3-shot. Geodude goes for Tackle, and it is its only attacking move, so we can go for Disable. The first one does miss, and we get hit with a second Tackle, but the second Disable does disable Tackle. Geodude was going for Defense Curl that turn anyway, which doesn't matter using a special attack, and our next Confusion actually gets a critical hit, so all of that work doesn't matter. When Onix comes out, we are at level 7, we have 22 HP, we hit it with a Confusion, and it does a decent amount of damage with a crit. We get a Rock Tomb miss, which is great. We hit it with another Confusion down to a sliver of HP, and we get hit with a Rock Tomb. I could have done the same thing and disabled Rock Tomb. I could have done a couple of different things here, but I'd rather just attack and get this over with. Onix opts to go for Bind, and we win this with 1 more Confusion. By the time we get done here on Route 3, we should have about 1,969 experience, putting us at level 11 as we enter Mount Moon. Mount Moon, we're going to gain a little bit more experience with the 2 minimum battles, putting us at 3,063 experience. That puts us at level 13, leaving Mount Moon. And once we defeat the rival, we will be at level 14, with 4,152 experience roughly. Luckily, we have all of Route 25 and 24 that we can do, because going into the Misty battle at level 14 would be terrible, but going into the rival battle at level 13 is very scary. Just showing proof here that we do have 1,969 experience as we finished out the trainers on Route 3. We're not going to overlevel, we're at level 11, you can see it on the bottom. We're entering Mount Moon now. We can find 10 rare candies. There are 12, but 2 of them require us battling additional trainers. I'm just going to keep them in my pocket to show it off. I'm not going to use them to advance our level. As a matter of fact, we're only going to be level 50 by the time we complete this run. I'll be level 48 entering the champion battle. I don't want to advance my level. I want this challenge to be as difficult as it can be. We may actually sell the rare candies for money. It'll help us get towards the TMs that we're looking at, like Shadow Ball, Ice Beam, and Thunderbolt. Pidgeotto hits us with a quick attack. We do a significant amount of damage with Rock Tomb. I did teach this TM. Surprisingly, Mewtwo can't learn Thief. So we're stuck with this. I can't learn Seed Bomb. I don't know. We miss our second Rock Tomb and get hit with a pretty weak Gust. Luckily, Rock Tomb is strong against flying types, and we KO'd the Pidgeotto. We gained a level 2, level 14, like I said we would, and out comes Rattata. I can't never not say that incorrectly. Anyway, we get hit with a quick attack. We hit it deep into the red with Confusion. We get hit with quick attack again, that crits us down to 17 HP, and we take out the rat. Out comes Bulbasaur, and we hit it with Confusion, and unfortunately it's not enough to KO it, but it does get the Confusion. Bulbasaur is confused. Luckily it hurts itself in Confusion, and it takes itself out, so we have won the rival battle. Wow! We almost wiped to our rival, but considering all things, we are very low level. We're just going to do some damage to the Abra here. All it can do is teleport. Rock Tomb doesn't quite take it out. Teleport misses. We miss a Rock Tomb. Teleport fails again, and a final Rock Tomb takes out the Abra. After all of the battles that we do here on Route 24 and 25, we should gain a significant amount of experience points, and we should be at 9,078 experience. That will put us at level 19. We can go do the rocket that has the dig TM, and that'll put us at 9,767. That puts us at still at level 19 to take on Misty. I can then go down to Vermilion and battle one more trainer if we wanted to. I don't think we need to. I think we're going to go ahead and attempt Misty after we defeat the rocket in Cerulean. That puts us at a total of 19 battles. We have 50 more battles to go. We are at level 19. It's nice that all of this trainer gauntlet is here so that we can get closer to the level cap to take on Misty. This guy's Pokemon aren't hard. His Machop doesn't do much. We are going to get the Dig TM for this, but unfortunately Mewtwo can't learn it. Mewtwo can learn quite a few TMs, but Dig is not one of them. Unfortunately, we don't have a good way of defeating Psychic-type Pokemon, so this is going to lead us real nice into Misty's Starmie. Starmie's Psychic type is going to make it difficult to battle, but before we get to Starmie, we've got to get through Staryu. I decided to go for Rock Tomb to see how much it will do. It does hit the Staryu pretty hard for over half health, and it of course gets the speed drop. Staryu goes for Harden on the first turn, so next turn I decide to go for Confusion, KOing the Staryu. Oh, this battle with Starmie is intense. It starts off with me using Confusion, and my plan here is to disable Water Pulse. We get hit with Water Pulse for 19 damage, and we manage to disable it, which means Starmie can't use Water Pulse on the next turn, so it misses. I set up a barrier because the only other moves it has is Swift, Rapid Spin, and Recover. It hits us with a very weak Swift. I hit it with a Rock Tomb to see what kind of damage it's doing. It looks like Confusion and Rock Tomb are doing about the same. We get hit with another Swift. We hit it with a Confusion and Starmie gets confused. That is nice. It does hurt itself in Confusion down enough to where Misty uses a Super Potion. Doesn't matter, we get a Confusion crit right back down to low health. Starmie is confused. It does break through Confusion to recover. This battle is going to drag on long. We get lucky with another Confusion crit. We get even more lucky that Starmie hurts itself in Confusion, so we can KO it with one more Confusion. This battle, in and of itself, was almost 3 minutes long. Real time. What a pain. The rival on the SSN goes a lot better than the Misty battle. Pidgeotto hits us with a quick attack. We hit it with Rock Tomb down deep into the red. It hits us with another quick attack and Confusion KOs it. For Raticate, we go for Confusion. It just goes for Tail Whip, so a second Confusion is enough to KO it. Out comes Kadabra. I know this thing likes to use Disable, so I go for Rock Tomb first turn, which does a lot of damage. It does in fact go for Disable and Disable Rock Tomb, but Confusion is enough to KO the Kadabra. Last but not least is Ivysaur. It comes out, we click Confusion, and it is enough to one-shot the Ivysaur, winning us a pretty quick and easy rival battle. For Lieutenant Surge, this battle goes very easy. We outspeed the Voltorb and hit it with Confusion. It does one-shot, albeit a crit. Out comes Pikachu, and we straight up just knock that thing out with a single Confusion. Raichu comes out. We hit it with a Confusion that gets a crit deep into the red. It gets a Thunder Wave off. Now I mistakenly left the Chesto Berry on from the last fight instead of putting the Cherry Berry on, so that's unfortunate. Surge then does go for a Super Potion. We break through the paralysis to hit a Confusion. Raichu then decides to set up a double team. Mewtwo does not care about the paralysis nor the double team. It gets off one more Confusion to take out the Raichu, winning us the third badge. As we get ready to go to Rock Tunnel, we have 8 minimum battles. And once we leave Rock Tunnel, we will have 24,544 experience, putting us at level 26. There is one more trainer to battle before we get to Celadon. That puts us at 25,182 experience and level 27. Here we are battling Last Julie on Route 8. She has 2 Clefairies that give us pretty minimal experience here. It looks like we grab 319 experience per. Confusion doesn't quite KO the Clefairies, and we are sitting high level 26, as I said. We will be at level 27 going into Celadon. As a matter of fact, if we go ahead and just look, there is 24,544 experience. I'm just showing it off. I know you guys trust me, but hey, we're not lying. This is a challenge. The absolute first thing we do when we get to Celadon is we grab the tea from this lady. This gets us into Saffron. Here we can get TM29 for Psychic. Mewtwo doesn't learn Psychic until level 66. No other Pokemon on the team. This is a very good use of this TM and should power us through the mid-game. Here is my experience after battling the Route 8 trainer and getting into Saffron. I just wanted to show that off before we start the gym trainers here. We have 2 of them to battle. After the couple of gym trainers that we have, it's Erica time. We are 2 levels lower than her lead and ace Victory Bell, but Psychic is a clean one-shot. That's very nice. Tangela comes out next. It is also a one-shot with Psychic, although it is not weak to Psychic. It is a crit as well. I don't know if that mattered. Last is Vileplume, and of course Vileplume has the same issue where it's part poison, so it goes down to a single Psychic. A very easy battle. Now we've made it back to the Pokemon Tower after beating all of the Rocket Grunts and stuff in the hideout that we had to. We're at level 30, which is slightly above our rival here, but we're still a bit underleveled for this part of the game. Pidgeotto goes down to a single Shockwave. Next up is Gyarados, and we do have a decent little moveset here with Water Pulse and Shockwave. Gyarados, of course, goes down to a single Shockwave as well. Next up is Growlithe. This is why I taught Water Pulse. Growlithe does go down to a single Water Pulse. Next up is Kadabra. I don't know if Kadabra will go down to a single Water Pulse. We don't have a physical move. Luckily for us, we are 11 levels higher, so Kadabra does go down to a single Water Pulse. And last but not least is Ivysaur, who falls to a single Psychic. Clearing out the Snorlax after getting the Poké-Flute is not going to count as a mandatory battle. I did do all of the battles in the Pokemon Tower that were required, but this one we're just going to run away, not gaining any experience, so it doesn't count. So this is the point in the game where I normally head to Sylph, but considering I am extremely underleveled for this point of the game, level 33, I'm not sure what to do. Going to battle Koga, we will be 10 levels lower than it, but we do have a super effective move against him. Sylph is a little more difficult with having to face the rival first things first, so I think Koga is our next best bet. Koga shouldn't be too bad, but we are severely underleveled. I am trying to keep up with the ticker at the bottom. We are at 54 battles after battling the 2 mandatory trainers here in the gym. A single Psychic takes out Coughing. I didn't reset this or add the Pokemon Tower fights when I was doing the Snorlax clip, but we've got it updated now. Muck is actually more specially defensive than most Pokemon, so it doesn't go down to a single Psychic. It does hit us with a Toxic, but I do have a held Pecha Berry for that exact reason. Koga then decides to go for a Hyper Potion, of course he does, and I go for Water Pulse trying to do some chip damage and get the confusion on Muck. Next turn I go for Psychic, and unfortunately it is just not enough. We leave Muck on 1 HP. We do get the special defense drop, which is good. Muck breaks through Confusion to get off an Acid Armor. We almost had a free win there. Koga uses his second and final Hyper Potion. I go for Return, which does well over half damage because of a crit. A follow-up Psychic is enough to take this out. I don't know if the special defense drop would have been enough to take out the Muck. The second Coughing comes out and it falls to the same fate as the first Coughing, down to a single Psychic. And last is Wheezing. We are at level 35, that's pretty nice. Wheezing is more physically defensive, so it too falls to a single Psychic. Next up is the Sylph rival battle, and I'm pretty nervous going into this battle. We're severely underleveled, we haven't done any EV training. We do have Shockwave for the Pidgeot. Unfortunately, it does just over half. It's not a one-shot. I don't have enough money to buy Thunderbolt or buy Ice Beam. I will after we clear out Sylph. A second Shockwave is enough to take out the Pidgeot, and we did tank a fairly weak Wing Attack. Gyarados comes out and gets off an Intimidate, but because of its 4 times weakness to Electric, it goes down to a single Shockwave. Out comes Growlithe, who also gets off a Intimidate, but luckily for us, a single Water Pulse is enough to take out the pup. Out comes Alakazam. I have Return at this point. I go for Return, and it does a little over a third, as Alakazam sets up a Calm Mind. I really don't know what to do at this point. Shockwave was probably not the best idea. If it paralyzed, Alakazam has Synchronize, but luckily for us, it crits and takes out the Alakazam. It was fairly lucky. Venusaur comes out, and we hit it with a single Psychic, which takes it deep into the red. If we had the Held Twisted Spoon, that might have KO'd it. It gets off a fairly weak Razor Leaf, and so a follow-up Psychic is enough to win us the Sylph rival battle. Giovanni really isn't an issue here at Sylph. I just need to beat him so I can start collecting all the different vitamins and stuff to get money. His Nidoqueen doesn't go down to a single hit and did manage to poison us, but that's not enough to take us down. This was a very easy victory in Sylph. So I have 21,793 Pokédollars before we sell off all of the items that we collected in the Sylph Company. We have a bunch of vitamins here, zincs, HP ups, calciums, that type of stuff. Let's see what we have after. 88,818 Pokédollars after selling all of that off. That is enough to get 1 TM like Thunderbolt or Ice Beam. Next we have Sabrina. I'm a little nervous about this battle, but I did go ahead and get the Shadow Ball TM, which Mewtwo can learn. It was a little bit more expensive than Thunderbolt or Ice Beam, but it is a strong, physical ghost type move that one-shots the Kadabra. Out next for Sabrina is Venomoth, and I guess that makes sense because Bug is super effective against Psychic, but it is a poison type, so it falls to a single Psychic itself. Next up is Mr. Mime. Mr. Mime goes down in the same fashion as Kadabra to a single Shadow Ball, and out comes Alakazam. We are 5 levels lower than this Pokemon. This is extremely scary as we outspeed it and hit it with a Shadow Ball. It one-shots, never mind. We're fine. That does put us at Blaine at a severely low level here, level 39, where his level cap is 47. Water Pulse with super effectiveness is actually weaker than Psychic because we get a stab bonus on Psychic. Psychic is base 90 power, plus half is 45, so that is 135 power move, whereas Water Pulse is base 60, and with the super effective bonus, it would be a base 90 attack. Growlithe goes down to a single Psychic, and out comes Arcanine. We do just over half, but it misses a Fire Blast, which is huge, and we take out the Arcanine with a second Psychic. We are 8 levels lower than his Pokemon. Ponyta comes out, and we hit it with a single Psychic to one-shot it, and last but not least is his Rapidash, who we hit with a Psychic down to just over a third. Rapidash, however, doesn't miss its Fire Blast, which does decent damage for Rapidash, down to 96 health. A follow-up Psychic takes out the Rapidash. Psychic is still stronger than Water Pulse, but we've kept it for this battle. Rhyhorn is quad weak to it, and typically if you have a water move and a decent special attack, these things get one shot, and that holds true for this battle, even though we are a few levels lower. We're actually 9 levels lower than his lead Pokemon, but his ground types aren't that strong. Out comes Dugtrio, and we use Water Pulse on it, and we one-shot it. For being a speed demon, we outsped it, which is very, very nice. Out comes Nidoqueen. This thing is weak to Psychic, so we're going to go ahead and hit it with one-shotting it. Out comes Nidoking, and the same fate befalls the beautiful king. Last but not least is his level 50 Rhyhorn, which again should fall to a single Water Pulse, and it does. That is 8 gym battles at level 42. By the end of this battle, we will be level 44, and that is the level we will be going to the Elite Four in. I am going to spend some time at the slots getting our money up, or our coins up rather, to get Thunderbolt, because Shockwave doesn't KO the Pidgeot. Pidgeot does get off a wing attack. This is a mirror of the battle we had moments ago in Sylph. A second Shockwave KOs the Pidgeot. Next up is Rhyhorn. Rhyhorn goes down to a single Ice Beam. We got rid of Water Pulse and got Ice Beam. Next up is Gyarados, who gets off an Intimidate, and just like before, we hit it with a Shockwave, and it goes down to a single Shockwave. Next up is Growlithe, who also gets off an Intimidate. We don't have Water Pulse anymore, I just go for Psychic, and that is enough to one-shot the Pupper. Out comes Alakazam. We're at -2 attack, but I do have Shadow Ball, so I go for Shadow Ball, and it does about half. Alakazam then just goes for Calm Mind. A follow-up Shadow Ball is enough to KO the Alakazam, bringing out the Venusaur. I go for Psychic against the Venusaur, and we manage to get a one-shot because of a critical hit. We are on to the Elite Four. So here is our Mewtwo at level 44, sitting just outside the Elite Four. We have some really good special attack with that 158, and we've got some good moves: Psychic, Ice Beam, Shadow Ball, and Thunderbolt. I, again, have the Citrus Berry equipped. There's not much we have here. Here are the 10 rare candies that I said we would collect. I'm going to put them in the PC. I thought I might have needed to sell them off, but I didn't. I have a few Ethers, and I have 5 full Restores, one for the end of each battle. I'm nervous. I'm nervous about the Elite Four. I really am. With such a low level and minimal effort values at this point, I am very nervous. Lance's Pokemon are level 60. Our rival's Ace is level 63. We're almost 20 levels lower than our rival's Pokemon. I think Lorelei is going to be a bit difficult. Bruno should be fine. Agatha should be fine. Lance is going to throw a curveball with Aerodactyl, and then our rival, we've already done that battle. Arcanine might throw us for a loop. I don't know. I'm very nervous doing this, but there's no time like the present. Let's go fight Lorelei. First up is Lorelei, and her Pokemon are not going to go down to single Thunderbolts. If we were leveled up properly and had the effort values that we needed, this would be a sweep. Dewgong gets hit with a Thunderbolt for just over half health here. We do get the paralysis, which is nice. Unfortunately, it doesn't matter because Dewgong fires off a fairly decent Ice Beam against Mewtwo here, doing 54 damage. A second Thunderbolt is enough to KO the Dewgong. Next up, she sends out the powerhouse known as Lapras. I fire off a Thunderbolt against Lapras, and it doesn't quite do half. Lapras hits us with a Surf, dropping us down to 56 HP, but our held Citrus Berry brings us back up to 86 HP. We go for Thunderbolt again because I don't know what else to do, and we get a lucky crit, taking out the Lapras. Up next is Cloyster. Cloyster doesn't go for Protect. It is fairly weak on the special side, so we actually one-shot it with a single Thunderbolt. Slowbro comes out, and we hit it with a very strong Thunderbolt deep into the yellow, and it just goes for Amnesia. That is the best possible case scenario. I decided to go for Shadow Ball on the next turn because I didn't want to leave anything up to chance. We KO the Slowbro, and last but not least is her Jinx. We go for Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball leaves Jinx on a sliver of health. Jinx fires back with a Stab Ice Punch that does serious damage, dropping us to 28 HP, and it freezes us. Lorelei goes for a full restore, healing up the Jinx. I have no choice but to try to attack this thing, and luckily I get defrosted, and we hit this thing with another Shadow Ball, putting this thing in a heal, hurt loop, right? We drop it to a sliver of health. Lorelei heals up with a second full restore. We go for another Shadow Ball, dropping it deep into the red. A final Shadow Ball does KO, winning us the first Elite Four battle, but holy, this might suck. Against Bruno's Onix, I decide to go for Psychic turn 1. My thought process is still the same as it was before, that Psychic gets the stab bonus plus 50%. Ice Beam does too. Because it's super effective, it gets a 50% boost. Psychic is base 90. Ice Beam is base 95, so Ice Beam's actually going to do a bit more damage to the Onyx. The first Onyx does go down to a Psychic. Hitmonchan does go down to a Psychic. Out comes Hitmonlee, and it too falls to a Psychic, and the reason I explained all that stuff before is because the next Onyx comes out and lives on a sliver after a single Psychic and hits us with a critical hit Earthquake down to 92 HP. I go for Ice Beam the next turn because I know Bruno is going to use a full restore, and after the health is fully restored, an Ice Beam is enough to one-shot the Onyx. It does just a little bit more damage. Out comes Machamp, and we go for Psychic, and Machamp, surprisingly enough, tanks it deep in the red, hitting us with a scary face, which is annoying. Machamp's Citrus Berry does heal it just enough to pull it out of healing range, and Machamp goes for a Cross Chop, which takes us down to 51 HP. A follow-up Psychic wins us the second Elite Four battle. Third up is Agatha, and her Poison-type Pokemon don't stand a chance. Her last Gengar might survive a Psychic, but I don't know. Against her first Gengar, however, we fire off Psychic, and it is enough for a one-shot. Out next for Agatha is her Golbat. We get off a Psychic against the Golbat, one-shotting it. We grow to level 47, Arbok comes out and hits us with an Intimidate. We go for Psychic, and we one-shot it with the crit. I don't think the crit mattered. Next up is Agatha's Ace Gengar, the stronger one. We click Psychic, and it goes down to a single shot. With all of those Pokemon being one-shot, her last Pokemon, Haunter, doesn't stand a chance. We one-shot it with the Psychic, moving on to Lance. First up for Lance is his Gyarados. You guys know the rules here. It does get off an Intimidate, but that doesn't matter. A single Thunderbolt is enough to one-shot the quad-weak Gyarados. Out comes Aerodactyl, who outspeeds us and hits us with a fairly strong wing attack. We hit it with a Thunderbolt deep into the yellow health. Round 2 is the same thing, where we get hit with wing attack down to 84 HP, and a second Thunderbolt takes out the Aerodactyl. Out comes Dragonite, and my heart drops. We click Ice Beam. It's quad weak to it, but unfortunately it survives with a sliver of health. Dragonite goes for Hyper Beam, but it misses. That is clutch. The Citrus Berry activates. That doesn't matter. Lance goes for a full restore, and we lucked out severely. Ice Beam again drops it deep into the red health. A second Ice Beam takes out the Dragonite, and I feel at this point we are scot-free. The first Dragonair comes out, and we one-shot it with Ice Beam. Lance's last Dragonair comes out, and we click Ice Beam. The health bar ticks down, and it survives on a sliver of health. Again, my heart drops. It hits us with a Thunder Wave, paralyzing us, which is super annoying. Lance goes for a full restore. We break through paralysis to hit our Ice Beam, and this time it gets a little bit higher roll, one-shotting the Dragonair, winning us the Elite Four. The rival leads with his trusty Pidgeot, and I send out our level 48 Mewtwo, 11 levels lower than his lead Pokemon. We do hit it with a Thunderbolt, which is just enough to one-shot the Pidgeot, and out comes Gyarados. We do level up to level 49, so we are 10 levels lower than Gyarados. We get hit with the Intimidate. A single Thunderbolt is once again enough to one-shot the Gyarados. So far, so good. Out comes Arcanine. We get hit with another Intimidate, and unfortunately Psychic is not enough to one-shot the Arcanine. We do get hit with a nasty Flamethrower down to 88 HP. A follow-up Psychic with a crit takes out the Arcanine. Venusaur comes out, and we go for Psychic. It doesn't one-shot the Venusaur, but luckily for us, Venusaur is going for Solar Beam, so a follow-up Psychic takes out the Venusaur. Alakazam comes out next, and we go for Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball is not quite a two-shot here, so this is going to be annoying. It gets off a Psychic down to 53 HP. I decide just to go for Shadow Ball again, hoping for a critical hit, but it leaves Alakazam on a sliver, and Alakazam goes for Recover. We do get the special defense drop, which doesn't matter because Ghost is physical. We go for Shadow Ball, again dropping Alakazam deep into the red. Alakazam then goes for Recover again. We are out damaging it as it's recovering, but not by much. Shadow Ball, Recover. Alakazam is an annoying Pokemon. We use Shadow Ball one more time and get a critical hit to finally take this Alakazam down. We don't have the power points to actually do what we were just trying to do. Rhydon comes out and I decide to go for Ice Beam because that should one-shot the Rhydon. What? It doesn't. It survives on a sliver of health, but it gets frozen. That is wonderful. That is awesome. It stays frozen, which is even better. Algo then goes for a full restore, which is fine. I go for Ice Beam on the follow-up turn, and we have locked it into a heal, kill range type thing. Algo goes for another full restore. I go for another Ice Beam. It's inevitable what's going to happen at this point. A critical hit takes out the Rhydon, winning us the run. At level 50, we have defeated the entire game. Minimum battles, no effort value training. This is insane. I don't think this challenge would have been possible with any other Pokemon outside of Mewtwo. Mewtwo is a powerhouse, as we saw early on. We literally did 69 battles. We are at level 50, almost 51, and we defeated the Elite Four, 13 levels under-leveled. Yeah, I can't think of a single other Pokemon that could do this, not from Gen 1. I'm sure there's other legendaries we could try, and that would have a little bit easier time, but this Pokemon is a beast. This was a very fun run. This is why I did the research and stuff during the Gengar run, and we did another run after that. I wanted to have all of my ducks in a row for this run. Thought it'd be fun to throw a twist on the hardcore Nuzlocke. This one was a severe challenge, and what I have planned for next week is also going to be an insane challenge. We're going to do one more episode in Kanto. I'm sure you guys, like I said before, are getting tired of my FireRed runs, but it was a requested run, and I want to get it done. After that, we're going to move on to one of the other generations and go back to the monotype locks. It is Tuesday morning. I'm doing the voiceover, finishing my voiceover. This is insane. I am like 5 days ahead of schedule right now, so I'm going to quit babbling. We're going to get this video edited tomorrow and have it ready to upload a week, not a week early, but about 4 days early. That's insane. I'm about a week ahead now on recording, so this is awesome. Another reason we did this run. I knew it would be fast. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, like, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned. I will see you on the next one.